My name is Norman Auspitz. I was a CFA judge, now retired. I did it for 30 years. And I miss it, but I can't come back because there were health issues. So I in some ways sit on the sideline, and my wife and I met through the cat fancy 30 some years ago. And I needed to get my Abyssinian line straightened out, and she had the Abyssinians I thought were the ones that would be perfect, and that's how we met. It was at a show in the Terminal building. It was one of the last big Empire cat shows. And thank you, Aruba Cat and PKB and all this good stuff. Maya Cats. Andover, is that Andover or Andover bees? So as you can tell, this show is all about blue. We see a few shades of blue. This is my 15th best kitten. This is what a Siberian, I believe. Yep, it says Siberian. And again, Siberians are interesting breed. They're the third forest cat breed we have. First was the Maine Coon, then there were Norwegians, and then there are Siberians. And when I first saw Norwegians, they were provisional and getting to be accepted as a breed. I would bring them up with the Maine Coons, much to the chagrin of the Maine Coon people. But people were confusing Maine Coons and Norwegians, just like they'll confuse Siberians and Norwegians and Maine Coons. If you put them all at the same time and point out the differences, maybe people will get the eye. This is a classic tabby. Note the bullseye on the side. Even though it's a long hair, you can see the tabby markings plain as can be. This is Siamese. Siamese, to me, the eyes, the ears, and the wedge all have to fit together nicely. The one thing about cats, every standard talks about balance. So you don't want any feature so exaggerated that it throws part of the cat out of balance, with the exception of Chartreux and Havana Browns, which are supposed to be out of balance. This is a Selkirk Rex. So I think of it as a British Shorthair with a funky coat. It has a lot of features in common with the British and some that aren't. But it's a unique cat. The grooming, it took them a long time to figure out how to groom these cats so they didn't look oily and they didn't feel gruesomely greasy. Now they're just beautiful. This is a red tabby and white Persian kitten. Persians have what, about 7 divisions of colors, and if they were doing it today, they wouldn't have any divisions of colors. Persians, we don't have nearly the number of Persians we had back in years past. Used to be that your solid Persians, you could have 25 or 30 solid Persians in a class. They might all be whites or blacks or whatever. But what you want in a Persian is roundness everywhere. This is a Tonkinese. Tonkinese are very well represented. This one has, Tonkinese are kind of in between Siamese and Burmese. That's the 2 breeds that make up the Tonkinese, are the Siamese and the Burmese. Your eyes are oval shaped, so they're not the extreme oriental look of the Siamese, and they're not very round like the Burmese. And guess what? The color of your minx, which is one of your Tonkinese patterns, your color in your eyes and your mink is supposed to be kind of a teal green color, which is really neat when you get it right. And what kills you is if the lighting is not right, you can have almost anything from yellow to blue. And what I've noticed with Tonkinese, when you take it out of the cage, The eyes are one color. When you get it to your table, they're a different color. So eye color is extremely important and difficult with the Tonkinese. So one of the things I did as a judge, I always wore white shirts. And so I think I convinced myself that it helped me to define color better. This is a Scottish fold. Scottish folds are very Persian looking. The idea of the Scottish fold is to have the ears folded down, double folded down tightly to the skull. So it looks like a cap. They have round eyes. You can see the Persian background in these cats, especially the long hair folds. What you've got to watch with these cats is they are prone to arthritis, and they can get arthritic. And if they're arthritic, they're in pain. And for those of us who make it past 70, we understand arthritis pain. And this is a Russian, the Russian standard doesn't call for this look, but the look has developed from what the standard called for. And in other countries, for example, in Asia and in Europe, Russians often have very high ears. But I think this ear set just sets it off nicely. And you want a nice pale blue coat with no sign of any marks, and you want kind of silvery at the tips of the fur. So you get this wonderful sheen on these Russians. And they're supposed to have green eyes. This is a Persian. This is a silver Persian, it looks like. And one thing to say about silver Persians, that is the white cat of choice. If they're filming white cats, they're going to get a shaded silver. Because if they get a white cat, it looks washed out. So the shaded silver looks white on the screen, but it's not in real life. So all those white cats you see in the movies are silvers. This is a Cornish Rex, one of our departed breeders who bred Cornish Rex amongst other breeds said you can't have a Cornish Rex that is too refined. These cats are very refined, and they carry refinement to the extreme. Tightly curled coat. Ears are upright, but the outside edge of that ear should start just below the eye level. The ears can be too high. And look how refined the bone is on this cat and the tail and all that. They look like they're fragile, but they're not. This is a Bengal. Bengal is our newest spotted cat in the CFA parade of cats. And they were originally bred to Asian leopard cats way back when, and supposedly they're 15 generations away from that. They're high energy cats. And if you've ever seen my Cat from Hell on Animal Planet, Bengals are very high energy, and so sometimes what you've got to do is exercise and take them for a walk before everybody wants to turn in, or they're not going to let you sleep much. There's another Scottish fold. Look how tightly folded those ears are. Nice round eyes. A circle has no corners, so a Persian or Scottish fold with round eyes should have no corners either. But it's really there's another Russian, a little different looking than the other one, but the green eyes against the silvery blue fur is just striking. They're a short-haired cat, and they are very active. And the first pedigreed cat I wanted to buy was a Russian blue, and I lived in Southern Ontario, Canada at the time, and no one had any. There were no Russians up there at all. So I thought a Burmese might be good, couldn't find any of them either. So I ended up with the Siamese. Siamese are everywhere. This is a Persian kitten. This odd-eyed, one copper eye and one blue eye. And blue-eyed cats can be deaf and odd-eyed cats can be deaf. Doesn't mean they will be, but they can be. Now the Siamese blue eye can't be. It's a different mechanism. It occurs at different times during the development of the fetus. And so these cats can be deaf, but the blue eyes of the Siamese, the Burman and all that are not prone to deafness. There's Scottish fold. That's looks like a dilute silver patch tabby in white. And again, you've got the tightly folded ears. You've got the beautiful pattern. And of course, we can't feel the tail, so we can't fault the thing for having a stiff tail. But sometimes they're arthritic in their feet or legs or tail, and sometimes they're not. This is a Burman. Burman's a very old breed. It's a blue-eyed cat. It's pointed, points being the nose, the ears, the paws, except for the white gloves. And that's the unique feature. The Burman has white gloves, front and back. And there's a special gene that's called the Burman gene that produces that. It's not a with white gene except for that. And it's the only breed that occurs in. And this is the group. Thank you all, group.